Hello, my friends. Shabbat Shalom. Today is a big day. It was a big day, Friday. Now it's night, midnight, overnight, overdue. So this was a joyful time with my daughters in town. I feel that something is disturbing here, so I may shut this back down so that we can talk in peace and have the peace and tranquility that this video demands. So today's topic is we can't judge because our judging is incorrect. It's quite strange to be part of a judging stream that can't judge. You have the ability to judge, but you judge wrong. I feel that many times that I'm able and capable and it's an ability to judge. But in fact, I have to deem myself out of order. I have to deem myself to be at peace with my lack of ability to judge. It's something very grateful as human, because we are making laws in order to judge. We are making laws in order to thrive on them. We are making laws in order to put other people under our feet. You see, as an activist, I've been talking about this empowerment many times. And people often mistake the mistake of replacing judging laws as something they are to slave under, to be put under, so that others can misuse their positions, and rightfully so. It's like that in many countries, many social communities and so on. It's kind of people are using the laws of their firm, their country, their regime in order to put people behind bars, so they don't shout anymore. They can't cry out anymore. And people are jailed, people are imprisoned, people are silenced in many ways. And as I heard when I was in Kenya back then, the president there silenced people just by killing them. Who in their right mind can do such a thing? That is a great breach of moral codex. Who in their right mind can do that and to empower themselves? So I'm not here to talk about that, which is often the case. People use their advantage in order to rule over other people. And I've been talking lately in Norwegian about equal rights, equality, and who who is making the professionals, the administration, the kings, the politicians, and so on, presidents, and all these kind of people in high places. As we say, who made them to have the upper hand, to be the Übermensch, leave us to be the underdogs? So, who in their right mind can do such a thing as to rule over people? This is not a judging speak, it's about judgment. It is a kind of a perspective. I was listening to something today, because you can have rules, but above rules you need understanding. That was a kind of a topic that catched my mind. They were talking intrinsic about many details regarding physics, atoms and electrons and photons and all this stuff of reality, of how to look at the reality, and how to measure and predict the future, which we doesn't know. But in every past, in any concept, they have some guidelines, they have some laws, they have some specifics that rules that area. It's all about mathematics, and mathematics is a practical law. It's a law that judges things to be right. And if it's not right, it judges things to be wrong. So math is a kind of a law that governs what's right and what's wrong. Maths is kind of, in all times, something very beautiful was perfect in math. So that, I don't know that. Maybe not. In any case, but to understand is a different concept altogether. To understand is above theoretical knowledge. Understanding, to understand yourself, to understand physics, to understand chemist, and all this kind of understanding that you may cover. It's about wisdom. It's about understanding what it's all about. It's a unionship of laws that, you see, in maths, it's very specific. Maths can't derive from something very specific to large. Then you have a large number, then you have a large concept, which will maybe give a understanding. It's hard to explain. In fact, I'm not the right to explain this, but to understand something is quite different than doing the right thing. Often it's regarded as you do the right because it's right to do it, but to have an understanding into it, to intuit what it's all about, is a kind of an understanding of the concept. So enough of that. When people are put in place, when people are governing countries' politics, even some departments of justice, of different health departments, You need some kind of understanding of what it's all about. If you don't understand, there are obviously rules that countries and departments are governed by. It's kind of maths. They are skilled. Many of those that are put in those places are skilled. They are skilled because they have some very specific and very deep knowledge of what the answer is. But they lack the understanding. Many lack the understanding. As for example, I came to something we called here the work department, something like that. If you are applying for work, you go to this place. It's state-based, because every human here in Norway, we are some kind of ownership of this. We are some kind of ownership. The state owns us, so we are registered, and we have to open the books, so to say. When you are out of work, you have to get some something to live by, something to come through the day, because you have these rights. But when you come to this work department, application department, so to say, you can go there and look at the different possibilities to work. Maybe they have some courses too that you can join in on, and you can apply for different workplaces. If you don't get it, maybe you lack some skills, so they can offer you, this work department can offer you some course in skill training, some training, which some I know now that are doing. She is educating herself in programming, and that's it, and that opens up doors for work. But those people in those places that are put there to serve people without any work, any employment, they can follow the rule specifically. And it's very important that those that are applying for work or for some reason can't work, they are met with understanding. I may do a video of that in Norwegian that is about how to understand beyond the ruling, how to understand beyond what specifics is said to this and this situation. So when you come there and you can ask certain questions, and he or she will look up in the book and say, no, this is not for that. But it's very specific, those that deny your rights. They may not do it intentionally, by bad will or something like that. It's not personally, as they say. It's not out of a personal vendetta that you don't... and they are not asking for bribery, because here bribery is out of the questions. That is what can I do? I don't work, so how can I get money to bribe you to give me work? It's impossible. So that kind of bribery is, but you have to put up a nice face. That's a bribery too. And to meet with some of those nerds, law nerds, we can call them law nerds, because they are very nerdy. They are very specific. If you sit there in the chair, he or she that maintain this position, this qualification, he or she may be very nerd about when and what to answer yes or no to. So this kind of person is very rigid about the ruling of what your rights is all about. You can ask for this, can I get, for example, can I go overseas and work there? And in some cases, they say yes, no, you are not allowed to go overseas while you are not working. So in other cases, in my case, I applied for, I was open. I went to my shrink and he said, I can recommend you to do some volunteering in Israel because it will do you good. And I went with that signature to the work department and said, in my position, I would like to spend some time, quality time in Israel, doing some volunteering work. And she said, yes, go. And at the same time, make some peace there, because it's highly needed. So we joked a little bit about it, and she was a little bit older lady. And I understood over time that when you are put in such places that you are serving people, you serve by some ruling, some maths. But if you are very mathematical orientated, you will only be minded about the math, and that you don't fail on the math because it have to be correct. But you lack the understanding of the whole concept, because all the ruling in those departments and in the ruling of the governing of the country is not only laws that you have to be put under and slave under. No, that is in fact passé, because the laws is designed. Just listen to me now very specifically. The law is designed in a way that is also at the same time correct, but it in the same time serves the people. The law, the intention, and then you have the understanding. If you understand the intention of the law, because the law needs some intentional drive, because the law can be very specific, and it can be very precise to which question regarding what, and that is okay. But if you lack intentional drive to these specifics and this overall view of the law, that you lack it and you don't have any perspective other than this specific law, what this law says, so the answer most probably will be no. You are not in a position to receive these rights. And that is not personal either. It's not out of ill will, but it is out of a lack of understanding the intention of the law. So that also demands a great deal of independence of those that are put in those places that are taking care of this ruling. So, you see the intent and the law, generally speaking, the law have intentions. And if you think that upholding the law is a very hard case, it's very difficult, it's not good, it's bad for me because I lack my free will, I lack my freedom over whatever I like to do. But in this case, when you understand why the need of the law, because there are some people that are really taking advantage of other persons. And in those places, you can get a lot of people with some obsession about their ruling as to be their own hand in action, that they are impersonating this law by themselves. You see, the law is blind. They say that the law is blind, and so be it. But in many cases, the law isn't blind. It's looking at you and judge you. The law is not even a judge. Law doesn't judge. The law have to be right about your situation. Law is not a judgment. It's a ruling. It's how it should be. So the judge is to differ between what is right and what is wrong. And to judge, then you need to have this higher standard of understanding, the intention of the law. Because the law is very neutral. It's like if you define this to be a pen, yeah, okay, but it haven't any resonance or relation to anything. It's just its own quality. And law is like that. Law is its own quality. It's a tool, so to say, that is ruled on. And we have this innate moral law that is personal. That is personal. And I don't want to go deep into that because that is a whole different concept. And this is not time for talking about that, but the law in itself have to have some intentions because it's not personal. It is made, the law, by all its governing, all its ruling. It have to be very objective. It have to be just a tool for those that really understand their law. The law is very specific, but it needs this overview of understanding why the law is needed. In many cases, the object that the law have to rule on is a weak object. We can call it weak force. Some are strong force. When the force is strong, the intention of doing bad is apparent. But if it's a weak force, you don't know whether it's a intentional bad deed, but he or she did something wrong, but maybe unintentionally. But the more clear it is that this was intentionally. So even the law gives a slack of possibilities to rule that if this and those principle are met, this, what to call it, criterias are met, maybe the force is very strong and convincing that he not only did it by, yes, that did a wrong thing, but he did it intentionally. So the ruling should be more specific and sharp, because it will put to place a very clear message. This is wrong. That is the ruling. And if the force is weak, if the criteria, all the criteria isn't really clear, it's somewhat unconsciously done, you should be more aware of applying the law, rightfully so, that it's not that impact on the client that is in focus here. So you have to have a weak case which the ruling should be measured accordingly. So in those cases when people are not met by their needs, yet the force is very strong to get their rights done. You need some kind of understanding that the intention of the law, if it's followed, the understanding, the higher level of the specifics, then you can rule in a good way. And then you can differ between those that are there in those departments that are they are serving the law. And in my eyes, in my world, it's a mistaken concept. If you serve the law, it's a mistaken concept, because then you are ruling yourself. But if you know the law, if you know it by your heart, if you know it by the nature of the law, by the intentions, then you know then and there, in this case I can do this, in that case I can do that, because I have a strong dependency on myself and my ruling, that it's good, because I understand the concept of the law. The concept of the law is as follows. The law is made to serve the people. It's good for us to have a law. But if it doesn't serve the people, the law should be changed in order to serve the people. Not to serve to do bad, but it should be served in order to make people understand that to do wrong things, or this is applicable to this and that case, that is serving the people. You can use the law as a sword, but also as a service. So that's how I developed my understanding. My understanding of the law is like that some people there are misplaced persons, because they are taking charge over other people and very wrongful judge and take away the rights for other people. And I would love to do that in Norwegian. I will do that someday when I feel fit. And I wish you Shabbat Shalom, a blessed holiday, and a peaceful weekend, Easter. So be blessed and be Be a blessing to each other, my friends.